Hey, this is Hank III, and you're watching the Kody Dayish Show.
Yate, Kody Dayish and shit. You're watching the Kody Dayish Show. My name's Kody Dayish. I'm a full-blooded Navajo from the Shiprock, New Mexico area, which is in the heart of the Navajo Nation. And I have here with me a very true country music outlaw, the king of Hellbilly himself, the ghost of country music, man, Mr. Hank III. What's up, man?
How you doing? Cody. Good to see you, man.
How you been?
Doing good, hanging in there, just getting ready to do another show for y'all.
Awesome.
Thanks,
For
man.
those of you guys that don't know, this is the legendary grandson of the legendary late and great Hank Williams Sr. So we'll give him a couple seconds to introduce himself.
Well, I'm Shelton Hank Williams III is my birthright name, but in the industry I've always just usually gone by Hank III. So there's a lot of music that I cover. I always pay respects to my country roots, but I was also raised on a lot of rock and roll, heavy metal, and punk rock as well. So I try doing a little bit of everything, and it's been hard to carve my own niche and find my own voice when you come from a family of not one great legend, but two, Hank Sr. and Hank Jr. So it took a while for me to get my following and for people to accept me as Hank III and kind of understand what I do.
All right, so 2 albums just came out last year, Brothers of the 4x4 and A Fiendish Threat, correct?
Yes.
And go ahead, just give us a little explanation of what those albums consist of, which
Okay.
I know there's a punk album and there's also a country album, if I'm not correct.
That's right.
All right.
The country record is the Brothers of the 4x4, and to me it just keeps some of the roots of the music in there. You have the fiddle, the banjo, the stand-up steel guitar, the doghouse bass, and acoustic guitar, and the mandolin. And those have some heartfelt songs, some partying songs, and it's a country record in my eyes. The Fiendish Threat is more of a punk rock kind of feeling record. It's paying respects to a lot of bands that influenced me when I was growing up. Bands like the Misfits, the Ramones, Jane's Addiction, 7 Seconds, Suicidal Tendencies, on and on and on. So it's the cool thing about A Fiendish Threat is it's got a doghouse bass on it, an electric guitar with fuzz and distortion on it, so it's got a little different sound to it.
Awesome. If I'm not correct, I think it's like, I feel A Fiendish Threat is kind of like Misfits, which is the Fiend, and then Threat from Minor Threat, right?
Yes, I wanted people to think of those bands instead of thinking of putting me somewhere. Nothing against Green Day or anything like that, but I wanted people to think of more, since to me it was a throwback record of paying respects to the bands that taught me how to play. So I wanted them to think of Misfits and Minor Threat, opposed to the newer bands like Green Day and stuff like that.
You heard it yourself, guys. All right, next up on the song Held Up, in Brothers of the 4x4, there's a song called Held Up. It's about him, his little experiences that he's had from all over the Midwestern states to the East Coast. And in there, he actually does mention in his lyrics that Navajo Nation brings the thunder. What influenced you to bring that up? But the reason why I'm making a big deal is because, all these country artists came up and, nobody's ever mentioned the Navajo Nation. To us, it's a huge deal,
Well, the Navajo Nation is one of the few reservations I've actually got to go in and hang out with a bunch of friends and enjoy a night of going way deep in the reservation and getting on some water and looking at the stars and just hanging out, So I haven't had that opportunity that much, and over the years there's been a connection with the Navajo Nation. We've got to play on the reservation before, and there's been a lot of friends that have come out, and the kids and the older folks are usually just very high energetic. They really love music. If it's country or the metal, they're always representing and taking it to the next level. So in my eyes and my feelings, that's how I was saying the Navajo Nation brings the thunder.
Next up, man, Hellbilly and Hellbilly. How would you explain those?
Well, Hellbilly is kind of a genre of music, and it's just become a term over the years. And the Hellbeddies, I do a Hellbeddy calendar, just trying to keep the fans involved a little bit. So it is what it is. It's kind of a, you've always heard the term hillbilly, but since where I come from, the Bible Belt, you know, is very strong. There's a bunch of churches everywhere. So having the term hellbilly instead of hillbilly just made it a little more sense to me for a different way to kind of rebel and have a different twist on it. And it's kind of stuck with me over the years. We pay that tribute to that sound. A lot of people have, you know, turned to the tattoos and the Hellbellies. It's just, it's not a certain look. It's not a certain person.
Yeah.
It's all around the spectrum.
Awesome. All right, next question I have for you, man. Since we the new album is called Brothers of the 4x4, talking about 4x4s, you know, on the Navajo Nation, everybody argues, you know, Ford or Chevy.
Right.
Which one's yours?
Well, I have a Ford. I do have more Fords, and I do have one Chevy.
Okay.
So unfortunately, you know, my Ford probably has about 500,000 miles on it, still running strong. I got the jacked up lifted van I've been working on for 10 years. But I do like the short box, old school 84, 85 Chevys. There's just something about that look of the old square bodies. So it's hard to say, you know, but I do have a lot of the older Fords. 87 to 91 are my favorite Ford F-250 trucks. I'm a big fan of the vans and the older trucks more than the newer trucks.
Awesome. Yeah, my mom actually has a 2000 Ford Expedition, and it has over 500K miles, so it's still running pretty good too.
No doubt.
Yeah, so next question, man, is the craziest gift you've gotten from a Navajo fan or Native fan?
It's hard to say, man. There's been so many. You know, I've gotten, you know, bear claws. I've gotten sacred feathers and medicine bags. All kinds of, you know, intense bead work.
Oh, okay.
You know, as well. So it's really hard to say. And I have gotten a few animal skins over the years, so there's been a lot. It's really hard for me to say that one thing because they all have a lot of meaning to it, and a lot of the jewelry as well.
Yeah.
So.
Most of our, you know, grandparents, which is in Navajo, Che means our grandfathers, you know, so our Che's and grandmas all have listened to your grandfather, Hank Sr.
Yes.
So, you know, it's a huge honor to have you here talking to us because this younger generation is actually all about Hank III that's in the Navajo Nation, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So how did that shape you as a child, having, you know, Hank Sr. as a grandfather?
Well, it was, I only knew him through his music, just like anyone else. I mean, that's the only way I know him, and I've gotten to hear some stories about him over the years. But I'm just blown away by how much work he got to do in 29 years. His music is timeless. The performance that he gave and just everything was just perfect at that time to make him a timeless musician that everyone could relate to, no matter what race you're from. Everyone could kind of identify with Hank Williams.
In 2010, he played in Window Rock, Arizona, which is, you know, the only people I ever noticed that played there was Waylon Jennings. I think George Jones has played in Shiprock, I think it was, a long time ago. And you're like one of the few outlaws that actually got to play there. Will you probably be playing there again?
It's just a matter of time. I always have to route it in because when I do those kind of gigs, I want to do it for a charity show. I just want to do it for the sake of doing it. And for us to come out here and have it synced up, it's just routing. Like on this tour right now, I had to throw this tour together at the very last minute, so I wasn't able to get in there and do it the way I wanted to. So, but hopefully here soon we'll be able to keep it going.
Right now we're in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Where's your next stop at?
I haven't even looked.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's Flagstaff in Arizona in a couple days, so he'll be in Arizona, guys. He'll be in Denver at the end of the tour, I believe it was. So just to let you guys know, that's where he'll be stopping at next if you guys want to check out his show. And a couple more questions, like, you know, for Navajos, before we have a huge like deal going on or any type of performance or any type of huge event that we have, we all, like, you know, smoke mountain smoke or we do a little prayer. Is there anything, like, you know, that you do like similar, like sage probably, or?
There's a lot of sage, there's a lot of stretching, and there's routines I have to go through. There's a whole hour where I have to have to myself just to go through everything and get everything situated. But there's definitely a lot of breathing, stretching, a lot of sage that's being burned. Sometimes certain kinds of wood are being burned, and it depends if I use certain kind of ointments on the body just to help loosen some stuff up. But if I don't have that hour, it's just like I'm not one of those guys that can just walk on stage and have the voice, because I have used the voice so much. I have to prepare every night for it to do the best that I can. So there's a lot of rituals, or however you want to say it, you know, that I have to go through to do it, to make me feel that I'm ready.
While you were on the Navajo Nation with your friends that you said that you got to go hang out with and go fishing with, did you by any chance get to try any of the Navajo food, like fry bread, Navajo tacos?
Yeah, man, definitely. Yeah. I mean, that was awesome.
Was it pretty good?
Yeah, everyone, you know, we got to hang out with a lot of folks, and every different place that we went to, you know, we were hanging out and eating and talking. So that I definitely did get to, you know, taste some of the real stuff.
How's your freedom so far, man? Ever since you've been unleashed from Curb Records, how's the experience gone so far since you've gone, you know, solo? Since I think it was Rebel Within was the last album with them.
Yeah, it's been good. Just having creative freedom has been a great thing. You know, it's a lot more stress, a lot more pressure to do it yourself. But there's, you know, I do the best that I can. I get out there, I make my records, I put them out. You know, and to be able to be a total independent against the music business is a hard thing to do. You know, it just is. So I'm lucky enough to have a good following and foundation out there of being on the road for 20 years and having a bunch of people at least relate to what I've been doing. So, but there's a lot of creativity flowing, and it's nice to just be able to do what I do, and that's write songs from the heart. Simple as that.
What's the next big thing for Hank 3? Like, what's like your next big goal out there?
Right now, my goal is just to hit everywhere that I haven't hit with this 4-hour show, and there's still a lot of markets that are untouched. You know, I still need to make it to Canada and do this show. I haven't got to do that. There is some spots in the U.S. that I haven't hit, but after I do that, it's hard to say what it's going to be. If it's going to be another 3-bar ranch record or a doom record or a country record, I just don't know yet. But right now I'm in full-on road mode and just trying to break even. And then I can start over and really concentrate on a new record.
Since we're talking about the shows, his shows consist of about 4 hours, if not at least 3.5 to 4 hours. Intense, you know. As soon as it starts, you'll be one song after the next, from country to his Hellbilly set to his ADD set, and it just keeps going and going and going. After those 4 hours, Hank 3 himself visits each and every fan that he has that are waiting out to get their stuff signed, everybody that wanted pictures done. What inspired you to do that? Because that's very rare nowadays.
Well, it's always been something that Hank Williams always did. And if you look at the country artists back in the day, they always did it as well. And over the years, that has been lost. So to me, it's just a way of paying respects to my fans. I always try to keep a cheap ticket price. That's another way I try to keep my fans in mind, a ticket price they can afford. And if they feel like they want to come out and just say, hey, thank you for what you do, or here's something I made for you, it's just an opportunity for them to come out and say hello. And I never have charged anyone to shake my hand or take a picture or any of that stuff. So it's just basically it's an old tradition. You do the show and you say hello, and it's created a fan base over the years that has, you know, kept true to me. So that's why.
Yeah, me and my brother's actually been here, 5 times, and each time we only paid $20 for the ticket. So it's not, we respect that, because us out there, have a hard time saving up money, drive and all that stuff. So we respect that very much.
All right, man.
All right, man. And the last question I got is just any shout outs that you want to throw out there to your fans of the Navajo Nation or anything like that?
Well, just keep on keeping on. I know times are kind of tough for everybody right now. So when times get tough, turn to music and hang on. Do your best just to keep your head up. You know, a lot of people have been hurting the last couple of years. There's a lot of changes going on, but when the load just feels real heavy, just try to find an outlet or something creative you can do to get you out of, if you are in any kind of depression, if it's music, if it's working with your hands, or just getting out and being outside. So everybody's, you know, feeling the shifts going on right now. So just keep hanging in there and keep on fighting and doing what you can do.
Awesome. Yeah, like we said, he's a very busy guy. He does his own setup and everything. We were just outside checking him out, and he was doing his whole deal, everything he does on his own. So we're probably going to go check that out and show you guys a little bit of what he does. And it was good talking to you, man.
All right.
My name's Kody Dayish, and this is Hank 3. We are signing off. Hello, my name is Kody Dayish. I'm back again. This is the Kody Dayish Show, and I'm here with Daniel Mason. He is the banjo player of the legendary Hank 3. So we'll give you a couple seconds to introduce yourself, man.
How's it going? My name's Daniel Mason from Houseville, Alabama. Been jamming with Hank since about 08, 09. Really love it. You know, had a lot of fun. I've pretty much grown up on the road with him, kind of. You know, been knowing him since I was around 17, 24 now. So just feel really honored and stuff to be able to share the road with him and have that family name and legacy, and you know, look up to it that much. And for him, his dad, his granddad, and that whole family, and just the whole thing about it itself is a big honor.
Doing stuff with him.
Touring with him, I've been touring with him since 2009. You know, his first run I ever done with him was a West Coast run. I want to say it was probably in October, November, maybe the end of 2009, somewhere through there.
Awesome.
You know, it all runs together after a little while. But
Oh yeah. Freaking how old are you, man?
I'm 24.
24. He's been touring them for quite a while. So out of all like the records, man, like which one's probably your favorite that you guys had the most fun working on? From the banjo's point of view.
Yeah, and honestly, this newest record, Brothers of the 4x4, I had a lot of fun in the studio on.
Oh, yeah.
It was more laid back and more at ease than any other recording project. You know,
Yeah.
I think it's kind of course, you know, I was new to it and all that, so I think you get more comfortable with it as time goes on in general. But overall, with their own label now and stuff, it seems a lot more at ease and a lot more fun because he's doing what he wants to do, so he's having fun with it. Therefore, you know, we have fun with it.
Yeah. Awesome. You heard it, guys. All right. You have like a side project. You're a pretty skilled banjo player, so.
Yeah, man. But I mean, I spend most of my time, like, as far as practicing the banjo, just trying to build what I've got. You know, just not necessarily spending my time on recording this project or that project. It's always try to take what I already have and make it better before I try to build any further. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, to me, if you don't have a solid foundation, like the guys like Earl Scruggs or, you know, Don Reno or any of those, like, those are two of my favorites, you know, to have. I've always strived to you know, if I can get anywhere near as solid and clean as Earl Scruggs on the main rhythm drive of it, and then have the flashiness and technique of Don Reno, you know, to me it's like, it's pretty awesome as it gets, you know, those guys. Of course, there's so much stuff too. I've played around with different effects and stuff, you know, with the Hellbilly stuff. And I really dig that. To me, banjo is a limitless instrument to me, to be played anywhere. and you get frowned upon. Of course, you know, I go to a bluegrass festival, I get frowned upon right off the bat.
Yeah.
Tattoos and
Oh,
I don't
okay.
look like the rest of them. You
True,
know?
true.
And you know, you get out there, and then if they don't see me, if they just hear me play, they come up and they're like, "Oh yeah," and then of course after they find out, no, oh, never mind. You know?
Yeah.
So I guess it goes back to what Roy Acuff said. They see you before they hear you. Unfortunately, you know.
True.
But you know, I think the world's coming around, and it's getting more and more open. I think bluegrass is opening its doors, and I think that the people are getting back to the roots kind of acoustic thing in general. You know, I see definitely from whenever I was a kid. I was playing drums and I was playing electric guitar. Randy Rhoads, Angus Young was my heroes, and you know, stuff like that. And then going to banjo and finding Earl Scruggs and Don Reno, Ralph Stanley, Eddie Adcock, and just you know, and from when I started to now, I could see the youth like younger than me that's coming up with it. And it seems like they're taking it further than you know, further and further. It's amazing. You know, it's like that was my plan is to see is, you know, I think Earl started off a really good direction with it towards the end. You know, he's taking it to the mainstream and showing that it doesn't have to be a dying breed of music. It doesn't have to be a dead instrument. You know, it could fit in anything.
True. Recording.
First couple tours in the Navajo Nation.
Oh, really?
It's been years ago, and I found the interview online here a while back, and it was, you know, right when the kind of the Reinstate Hank thing started up. And it was fun.
Was that when you guys played in Window Rock?
Yeah, Window Rock.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, I went to that one, man. That was right after Sunshine, right?
And we're in the big hay barns pretty much. With
Yeah,
the
yeah, dude. It was awesome. So cool, man. There was no barricades or nothing, no, man.
It was epic.
Yeah.
That was definitely one to remember.
Question. So, how's the tour? Like, how's the life on the road, man? You know, coming all the way. They come from Nashville, Tennessee, all the way doing mostly West Coast and East Coast.
Yeah, man.
How's life on the road?
It's great, man. It's got its ups and downs. Literally, you know, hitting the altitude today, and you feel the different changes in climate. But today's definitely the most beautiful day we've had this whole tour. It's been kind of raining on our load ends and stuff. So today to show up in the sun, a nice breeze out, and all the mountains, you know, it's definitely an awesome feeling.
Cool. All right, man. Well, this is the Kody Dayish Show. This is me and Daniel Mason signing off, man.
Hurting for certain, I've been right there flirting with the danger that's heading my way. Hurting for certain, I've been right there hurting for a lover that don't like my
Interview with Hank 3. We got to also meet Daniel Mason. We also had a little jam session with him as well. Right now we're talking with David McAllfresh, man, the violinist and the fiddle player of Hank 3. How you doing, man?
Great. How are you doing, man?
Doing pretty good.
Thanks.
So how long have you been playing with the band, man?
With the damn band, I guess it's been right at about 5 years now in November. I'd known him a year before that. We did some Layla's gigs, but his other fiddle player was in there at that time. So I've been touring with him about 5 years.
Awesome. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to go ahead and introduce yourself. We like to have everybody introduce themselves before we start the interview.
David McElfresh, Dave or McElfresh, whichever, you know, it comes out. It's the Scottish pronunciation or the American version. But, yep, play fiddle and guitar and some keyboards and the ADD stuff.
Awesome, man.
Happy to be here.
What's the difference between that you have, like, you know, you've been on, like, you know, you play, I'm pretty sure you play the guitar for the Cal Kolin, right?
Mm-hmm.
3-bar ranch. How's that compared to the violin, you know, like?
Oh, it's completely the opposite end of it. You know, it's not like playing a bass, say, but like heavy strings, tuned down, crunch. The you know, speed metal riffs are there, so it's definitely fun because I grew up like really digging Slayer at the same time I was listening to other music and stuff too. But you know, so it's definitely has its place.
Nice. You were on, I believe, Rebel Within and also Straight to Hell, right? You played all those albums. Which one was your favorite, like, compared to all of them?
Oh, well, I wasn't on Straight to Hell, but I was on the last two, the Ghost to Ghost and Brothers of the 4x4. It was mainly those two.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure. But I always played, you know, I like basically learned the same stuff that like Donnie Heron did and Billy Contreras, who's also behind the scenes that plays some killer fiddle on a lot of recordings and stuff.
Awesome, man. The my favorite song, man, "Dreadful Drive," dude. Like,
Yeah, played on that one.
yeah. How'd you guys come up with the idea of adding the violin, you know, in the chorus?
Just really, that was just Hank and I sitting in his house recording. He had already done the acoustic parts and all that stuff, and had the vocals down. And then he just sits there with headphones with me, and we just kind of run through it and go back and listen.
Did it start
and
off with the banjo first, or did it start with the guitar?
Usually it's always guitar.
Oh, okay.
Or, for him, well, since he wrote the banjo part, that would be, you know, him on the Hank plays banjo on that song.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he might have wrote that on the banjo, but then, you know, usually it's like, you know, whoever, you know, him being the writer will have the acoustic guitar part, or in that case, like Trooper's Holler or something like that. That's also a banjo song.
If I'm right, you put the violin on distortion sometimes, and you play Trooper's Holler like that, right?
Yeah, that, and then like you can take it down an octave, which it makes, it has a real deep, almost like a cello sound.
Yeah.
Crunchy guitar or something. So
Awesome.
yeah.
What do I have left to? Yeah, I was gonna ask if you guys like noticed the Hank 3, the live shows. One song starts and then it just picks up right after it's over. You know what I mean? And then here, so you know, it keeps going and going.
Yes.
Do you guys like practice a set list, or how do you know what's coming up next?
You better just know him. I mean, you might get, you know, wind that he's been in his room listening or practicing on one that we haven't played in a while. And
okay.
We kind of keep, I would say, about 65% of the set list the same each night to 70%. But you know, we've had a few different lineup changes and stuff like that, so we try to keep it somewhat. But like, you definitely don't know. With, you know, you might get used to like the first 3 songs being the same 3 for 4 nights, and then it might be a different first song, and then definitely as the set goes on.
Awesome.
Like
man.
for instance, we played Ghost to a Ghost last night, but we didn't, you know, first 2 gigs. So never know.
Compared to other bands you've played, performed with, and like recorded with, what's the difference between them and like, you know, performing with Shelton?
Well, I mean, in the country genre, I would say that's where he could get up there and play with an acoustic guitar and play with just a banjo or banjo fiddle or only a steel, and it'll still be that song. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like you have the freedom to, you know, improvise and do your own part there and work together as a band, obviously. But it's not like you got to play it this way every time.
Yeah.
Compared to like if you're playing in a structured metal song, I mean, unless you're like jamming on a solo, but you don't really improvise rhythms and stuff. You know.
Yeah.
If you're playing a Black Sabbath or a Metallica song.
So yeah.
You don't want to be changing the riffs up. So.
Do you stick with like just one violin throughout the whole show, or is
yeah,
it like
I do. I got a backup that's, you know, an older instrument that I had when I was younger, but that's what's been doing me good. And
oh yeah. Do you
don't broke, don't fix it.
If I always watch some of Kathy Pippen's, you know, she helped me out get an interview with Hank 3 and everything. So shout out to her. Thank you.
Kathy and Wayne.
Also, anyways, I was watching some of her shows, and that show you guys played where it was the Halloween show, I believe, when Hank 3 had the whole skull makeup, and you did too. And, and anyway, so I was gonna ask during that show, you guys were playing PFF, and some dude jumped on stage, and then he like jumped off and like knocked your violin down. Do you remember that at all?
Kinda.
Yeah.
Not
really? Yeah. So I was like,
I think it was okay. Yeah.
How often does that happen? Or
the actual instrument getting pulled out, not too bad, but man, I did have a good one time. We were in, I think it was Richmond, Virginia, and the old bass player Zach Shedd and Randy Blythe from Lamb of God was going to be singing backups on Lowdown.
I seen that, dude.
And somebody whizzed one of those beer bombs, and that thing came, and I could just sense it almost. I was right getting ready to go into solo, and it hit like Zach and Randy and me. It like nailed us all. Beer covered all over my head. So that was one of probably the most funny incidents. At least it wasn't like a bottle; it was a cup. Like it was just drenched in beer. So
all right, man.
Got us good.
David and Kody signing out. All right, nice meeting you,
man.
Yeah, dude. You guys have a good show tonight.
Thanks so much.